morning, everybody. It's a very great pleasure to be here at this event, which looks ahead to the holding of the World Islamic Economic Forum in London this October. This is the first time this forum, which is an annual event, has been held outside the centres of the Islamic world in the Middle East or in Southeast Asia, and we are very honoured that the first time that the forum is held outside that region is right here in London. It's been a catalyst to the establishment of a British government and private sector Islamic finance task force led by Baroness Warsi and by Greg Clark, who is sitting in the front row, which is focused on showcasing the UK's capabilities as a major global centre for the specialist financial and professional services needed for the development of the Islamic finance global market. Of course, the event's fundamentally about meeting the challenges we all face in providing jobs, driving growth. So I'm delighted and honoured to be able to introduce today the very senior leadership and patrons of WIEF. His Excellency Prime Minister, the Honourable Dato Sri Mohammed Najib Tun Abdul Razak, Prime Minister of Malaysia and patron of the WIEF. The Honourable Tun Musa Hitam, Chairman of the WIEF Foundation, and not that he needs any introduction to this audience in this city, Boris Johnson, the Mayor of London. I'd like first, if I may, to call on Tun Musa to say a few words.
Thank you very much, Lord Green. The Honourable Prime Minister of Malaysia, Mr. Lord Mayor, and Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. This morning I sit here proudly as Chairman of the World Islamic Economic Forum Foundation. Proudly because this is the first time in our history, in the history of the WIEF, that we are holding the annual forum in, number one, a non-Muslim country, number two, in Europe, which we had always been confined to almost in Asia, and number three, the fact that London is indeed the center of business, finance, and all things related to it. And I'm also delighted that we have promises of very good ninth conference in London, in the sense that we expect something like 1,500 business participants coming here, beside distinguished VVIPs from different parts of the world, including a number of heads of government, ministers, and most important, of course, the business role players that would come from different parts of the world to contribute to the events relating to this 9th World Islamic Economic Forum. And I would like to tell you that for the last 8 years, or 7 years actually, we've had meetings in different parts of the world that I mentioned, but these happened in Malaysia, Pakistan, Kuwait, Indonesia, and Kazakhstan. But this time when we are here, is symbolic of the Muslim world's desire to look beyond its traditional borders and reach out to partners in the world at large. I think it is important and significant perhaps for me to mention here that even though we are known as the World Islamic Economic Forum, the word Islamic stops there literally, in the sense that it concentrates and focuses and indeed pays all our attention to business. The common language of business expected to be the bridging process between the Islamic and the non-Islamic world. And it is also significant for me to say here that we never asked, never questioned any participant in all our previous fora, and of course the coming ones, we never ask your religious background. We don't only say only Muslims should come. Indeed, it has been proven all these years that non-Muslim business people had indeed come, and they had participated very actively, and we consider them to be very successful. And I'm not going into details about what the achievements have been, but the connectivity and the link between these two sections, if you like, of society in the business world, i.e. the Muslim business community as with the non-Muslim business community had been developing through our forum, and it seems to be something that is looked forward to every year. And business leaders from banks, infrastructure, technology, design, and media companies from China, UAE, Malaysia, USA, UK, South Africa, Japan, and Indonesia, as well as health and education experts will take part in this coming forum. Organizations represented, expected to be, will include the Islamic Development Bank, the Aga Khan Foundation Network, Abu Dhabi Commercial Bank, World Health Organization, Thomson Reuters, Halal Food Festival, Saudi Economic and Development Company, Capital, DS Cosma Corporation, Japan, and BDA China, with strong support from Malaysian-based corporations such as Khazanah National, Maybank, Islamic, and Bank Negara, or the Central Bank of Malaysia. So our welcoming of non-Muslims especially plays a very important part in making the emphasis that we have in trying to have the bridge and connectivity between the two sectors, if you like, of the business society all over the world to come and use our platform as a means of this connectivity and collaboration. And I think it is important also for us always to emphasize to everybody that the key word is collaboration in business for success, to contribute in a wider sense to the wider good of our respective societies. And we do feel that this is the only way and the best way that we could achieve success in collaboration between these two parts of the world. I would also like to mention very briefly that there are two sectors of the forum which not really normally noticeable, but they're very important. Special activities, special issues, special sessions will be held by the women, under the women's wing, if you like, and also under the youth. They will have their own discussions. This emphasizes our recognition of the need for these two sectors to be not only recognized, but to be a participant and contributor. I don't need to say how important it is for us to concentrate in these two, because they are actually, I cannot say leaders of tomorrow. In many cases, they are already the leaders of their own communities now, currently. And I'm very happy and proud to say here that in all our previous fora, we have the very strong support of the government of Malaysia, and I would like personally to take the opportunity here to thank the Honourable Prime Minister of Malaysia, who has graced the occasion again, and has always been, and again, inshallah, we say in October. And with the support, I think it has made our work easier in a way, even though we are doing it on our own, really. And I would like also to take opportunity here to thank the British government. I'm very happy that today I've just been told that the Right Honourable Prime Minister of the UK has accepted our invitation to participate in the forum. And that support is very meaningful to us, because acceptance of us in London, in Britain, is very important and very significant, and this would really add meaning to it. And I go even so far as to say that we have literally arrived. So this is meant to be a compliment, Mr. Mayor, to say we have arrived in London. There's no better way in economic and financial and banking system to say we have arrived. And where? In London. That means we have matured. Not that we were not, but still, just to emphasize on it. And in this respect, of course, I'd like to thank the Mayor for his enthusiastic support. Actually, all the work is being done at the Mayor's office, through the Mayor's office. We've had our joint committee, and I had the pleasure of working with your Deputy Mayor, yes, who's here, who's been working together with us, 4 or 5 meetings already to go into all the details. So with your personal support, you've given us so much time, actually, when we were first here, and now you are here together with us. What a better endorsement than that at this. And may I really wish that we succeed, and thank all the distinguished guests here for their presence, and Lord Green. Let me say that your personal touch in this particular one, as well as your kind visit to our head office in Kuala Lumpur to discuss this, shows really very proactive interest of the British government on the whole and the London, City of London and this. And we can't really go wrong, inshallah. We of course go into the details of it, and it is expected to be really a successful conference. I can assure you, with all the support and the site that we're having here. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for your kind words. I wonder if I can invite the Mayor of London, Boris Johnson,
to
respond.
Phil, thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. Ladies, particularly, I want to welcome Prime Minister Najib to City Hall. I don't think it'd be fair to say that you've arrived when you've arrived in City Hall, but we're very, very honoured to welcome you today, as well, of course, as my colleague Stephen, Lord Green, Greg Clark here, and other friends and colleagues. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to be joining Prime Minister Najib and our Prime Minister David Cameron at Battersea, where work is going to start on the colossal phase 1 of that power station project, which is a building that many of you will know and has been recognised in my lifetime as a stunning piece of architecture, a poignant reminder of Britain's glorious industrial past, which is not yet over, of course, but whose only practical use has been to serve as the album cover for Pink Floyd, or the location for shootouts for particularly grisly British gangster films in the final reel. And that building is now going to be transformed into homes and offices and thousands of jobs, hotels, restaurants, you name it. Thanks to the work and the initiative of a Malaysian-led partnership, and I really congratulate them, and a little bit of help from TfL, by the way. Yeah, the Northern Line extension, not completely negligible in these considerations. And I think you'll agree that what's going on today, tomorrow, in Battersea is an amazing symbol of the growing ties between London and Malaysia, but also of the growing economic interpenetration between the UK and the Islamic world. And Eddie and I, our team from City Hall, took a business delegation recently to the Gulf, and you've only got to go there, you've only got to see what's going on in the Muslim world. Look at the GDP figures, the population growth figures, to see that this relationship is going to be of ever-growing importance, London's relationship with the Muslim world. So it's fantastic news that we are able to welcome you today and to join you in announcing that London will be the first city in the world, outside the Muslim world, to host the World Islamic Economic Forum. And on 29th October, we will be welcoming 1,500 delegates. I think it's going to be fantastic. They'll have a great time in London, as I never tire of telling you, a city that has more museums than Paris, free museums at that, less rainfall than Rome, is a statistic that I've never really bothered to check too much. I think it is true that there is less annual precipitation than Rome. At least, well, do we have as many Michelin-starred restaurants as Paris? I think that statistic has recently been called into question. But we certainly have about a fifth or a quarter of the murder rate of New York. It's a fantastic, it's a fantastic place to visit, and I know that people are going to have fun. But they will also find, of course, a city that remains, in spite of the economic downturn, the #1 financial capital of Europe, if not of the world. 320,000 people working in finance in London, a massively important part of our economy, and also that has 22 Islamic banks, 5 of which are fully Sharia compliant. Did you know this? It's absolutely astonishing. We have 30 law firms with substantial Islamic finance departments, and in the last 2 years alone, there have been sukuk listings on the London Stock Exchange worth $24 billion. This is a market, and there are interesting economic reflections about why this market is growing so fast and the relative attractions of Islamic finance. But this market is predicted to swell from $1.2 trillion to $1.6 trillion by 2015. I want London to be at the heart of that market, and I think that we are in ways that perhaps people don't fully appreciate. It's an astonishing fact that we're not only the largest centre for Islamic finance outside the Muslim world, with 5% of the existing market, but we are seeing some of the most famous and iconic structures in London actually built thanks to Islamic finance. Can you think of one? Anybody think of a famous structure financed by Sukuk? I'll give you a clue. It's very large. It's pointy. It's not far from here. You can more or less see it from Mars. It's the Shard, and the Shard is itself the product of Sharia-compliant finance, and I don't think there are many people in London who know that. And I want to spread that knowledge, that understanding more widely, and to encourage understanding of Islamic finance. And speaking as a mortgage holder in this city, I'm particularly interested in the idea that you can get away without paying interest, and I'd like to hear more about it. And it is to promote even greater understanding of Islamic finance, to encourage that economic interpenetration that we are so pleased to welcome the WIEF, the WIEF, to London. Prime Minister, thank you very much for visiting City Hall today. Congratulations on the stunning Malaysian investments in our city, and I look forward to a very, very stimulating and productive event here in London in October. Thank you. Prime Minister.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mayor Boris and Tun Musa, Lord Green, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning. It's a great pleasure to be here once again in one of the world's great cities. Rome may be eternal, Paris the city of light, but London shines brighter than both. It is at once breathtakingly ancient and irresistibly modern, the birthplace of global finance, home to the mother of Parliament, and of course our Parliament is modeled along Westminster. And I only mention this because I understand it has been a traditionally British summer. The world's best umbrella shop as well. It is also home to thousands of Malaysians who come here, that includes me, in search of knowledge and opportunity, drawn to the peculiar mix of history, culture, and creativity that gives this city life. London has nurtured the minds of countless Malaysians. In fact, I was with 100 of them this morning, and after one semester in London, they have been transformed in many ways. And therefore, London has brought richness and depth not just to their lives, but also to your society. That is why I am so pleased that London has agreed to host the 9th World Islamic Economic Forum in October. It is a chance for Malaysia, by way of return, to bring a new perspective to London. For the past 8 years, the forum has met in Asia, but this year it will meet in the West. London will hold the first World Islamic Economic Forum in a non-Muslim country. It is a recognition not only of London as a place of ideas and discourse, but also as a bastion of tolerance and inclusivity amidst an often divided world. This reputation stretches back centuries. Throughout its history, London's commercial ambition has shaped its worldview. This city's traditions of intellectual vigor, and financial innovation have conspired to attract the world's best and brightest, and to ensure London looks forever outwards, seeking new talent, new opportunities, and new markets. Today, one such frontier is not geographical, but spiritual. The rise of the Islamic economy is one of the more important stories of the past few decades. In less than 50 years, Islamic banking has gone from obscurity to a $1 trillion concern with a full range of Islamic financial products and services. Halal, which most people associate with food, actually covers everything from pharmaceuticals and logistics to cosmetics and even tourism. A $2.3 trillion market providing for more than 1.6 billion Muslims. The opportunities for London, an open city with unparalleled financial expertise and a diverse population, are clear. This is one of the reasons why, in just a few months, the World Islamic Economic Forum will bring business and government leaders from both the Muslim and non-Muslim world here to talk, to discuss, and eventually to strengthen our collaboration. We will talk about the role of women in business, about how to help our cities meet the challenge of growth, about the potential for collaboration on technology and education, about the role governments have in promoting economic development, and above all, about the importance of moderation and tolerance, and hopefully a deeper understanding of what Islam stands for. I hope to see many of you here, but for now let me pay tribute to Tun Musa, Hitam and his team for their work over the previous 8 years and for their inspirational proposal to bring the forum to London. I would also like to thank Mayor Boris and the Government of the United Kingdom for their work. And Mayor Boris was so enthusiastic that he actually agreed to meet me at 11 at night in Davos recently. So that's a measure of how enthusiastic that has received this whole idea of having this World Islamic Economic Forum here in London. I look forward to returning in October for the forum itself by working together on projects that benefit both the Muslim and non-Muslim world. I believe we can find the best in each other and find common ground between our cultures. I can think of no better place to do so than London, the city that straddles the world's time zones, the city that hosted such an inclusive and celebratory Olympics, the city that, for those of us who know it, and we know it well, symbolizes the best of the West. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well, first of all, the first part of the question, there was never any doubt about changing the venue after the tragic events that happened in Woolwich. And it will also give us an opportunity to condemn that, actually, in the strongest words. And you know, the way Islam is being applied, practiced in Malaysia symbolizes, if I might say so, the best of Islam, because Islam is inherently a moderate religion, and Islam seeks to befriend non-Muslims and non-Muslim world. I think that's the underpinning message that we want to send the world. Do not fear Islam, because Islam is not being represented by a few extremists. Islam is bigger than that. Islam is better than that. I think that's the kind of message we want to send to the world.
I completely share the Prime Minister's sentiments, and obviously the objective of the WIEF is not just to promote greater economic understanding so that this beautiful interest-free concept can be elucidated for people like me, but also that we have greater, quite seriously, greater cultural understanding as well. And I think it'll be a fantastic
Yeah, there will be opportunities for discussions on the site. You know, one of the things that I've learned from the number of WIEF forums that I've attended is what happens at the site, the opportunity for business collaboration to take place, discussions, and eventually leading to quite a number of active business proposals being implemented. That, I think, is one of the successes of having this kind of forum in the past. And I'm sure in London we'll be very, very active. And there will be a lot of business discussions taking place around WIEF. I think you will probably see quite an upswing in terms of Malaysian companies, including our government-linked companies, looking at investing in real estate development and purchasing buildings in London. I know of a few, like Mara is looking for a few landed properties here, buildings. EPF, our Employee Provident Fund, they're flush with a lot of funds, and they're looking at opportunities to invest in London and other capitals. I think SP Steer probably has, they are singing praise of the mayor and the British government, no end, that I'm sure they are looking at opportunities to look at other developments in London. So I think you will see Malaysia being a major player, I think, in the real estate development in London. Well, we can quote the example in Malaysia. Before coming here, my officials just told me the latest university intake in Malaysia, being a Muslim country, 68% will be women entering our university. I think we might even do better than UK in that regard.
But when do they've got to find men to marry them? That's the problem.
The question is, what's happened to all the boys? Yeah. And that's a remarkable story by itself. And I can tell you some of the key positions. In our economic management at the technocratic level, you know, the central bank, governor of central bank, as a woman, the economic planning unit, and practically the entire top management of Treasury are women in Malaysia. So, you know, that by itself speaks volumes of the kind of opportunities that we give to women in Malaysia as a Muslim country. So that part of it, I think we can showcase, you know, to the West, that women actually are not discriminated against in Malaysia. What happens in other countries is another story, but the importance of women in the context of Islam itself is actually the way it should be. And we take pride in the fact that you know, we are leaders in that regard.